to the channel, everyone. Right now I am walking through a park which is near to my house. So in this video I want to talk about accommodation for students in the UK. As an international student, I know how hard and stressful it can be to find a good accommodation where you have to stay for 1 year or 2 years. You might have doubts about how the rental system or how the property system here in the UK works. There are some things that you can keep in mind and check when you look for an accommodation or before you book an accommodation. In this video I'll give you guys 5 things that you can check before you finally book that accommodation. First thing that you have to do is choosing the right type of accommodation that suits best for you. There are various types of accommodation for a student here in the UK. There are university student halls, there are private student accommodations, private house or flats which you can rent through landlords or letting agencies. Finally, the option of living with an owner, sharing a room with the landlord, where you'll basically be staying as a paying guest. And the last option is not very common here in the UK. University student halls are maintained by university and you can book these through your university websites only. These are usually close to your university, but in some cases these can be very far from the university. So if you're going for university student halls, make sure you check the location. Next is private student accommodation. These are very similar to university student halls, but these will have amenities which are not available in university accommodations, like gym, common room, study room, and even a pool sometimes. I would suggest you go for this type of accommodation if you are a student, because there'll be lots of restrictions in university student halls, and amenities that these private student accommodations offer are way better than the university student halls. If you're looking for private student accommodations, I suggest you check out Amber. Amber is basically a platform where students can search for accommodations based on their location preference and their university. I have a link in this video's description. You can click on it and check out Amber. All the properties listed in Amber are verified and they offer perfect accommodation for each and every student, and you can choose from over 1 million beds, and there are various options for rooms like dorms, shared rooms and en-suites, so you can check them out. I'll talk about Amber in detail later on in the video. So the third type of accommodation is private house or flats. You can rent whole houses or flats through landlords or letting agencies. You need to look for local letting agencies near your uni and get in touch with them. And the last type is a house with a live-in landlord. These can be usually found through room sharing websites. So basically have a clear idea about what kind of accommodation you are getting into, what the pros and cons are. So the next point is related to rent and deposit. Make sure that you know the exact monthly rent payment that you have to make and the deposit amount that you have to pay before you move in. Deposit is to cover any damages or missed rent payments by the end of the tenancy. The deposit amount is usually 1 month rent in advance, and legally deposit amount cannot be worth more than 5 weeks rent, and the landlord or the letting agency are obliged to protect your deposit with a government backed deposit protection scheme. So make sure to check the contract before you sign to make sure that your deposit will be protected, and by the end of the tenancy there will be no issues with refunding your deposit. The next thing I want to talk about is location. Location is very important, especially as a student. How far your accommodation is from your university. It's very important because imagine if you have a class at 9 o'clock in the morning and it's gonna take you more than 1 hour to get from your place of stay to your uni. It'll be very hard for you. You should also consider if there are local amenities like grocery stores, local supermarkets, and transport links. If there are bus stops near to your place or train stations, which will make your life a whole lot easier. Talking about convenience, this is where Amber student accommodation comes into play. Amber student accommodations are conveniently located to major universities and in and around major city centers. And one important thing that I don't talk about in the video is to ensure your safety. The security and safety of your accommodation is very important, especially as an international student. You are new to this place and you're getting to know everything. You don't want to get into a tricky situation. As I mentioned earlier, all of the Amber accommodations listed in the website are verified and they come with top-notch security. So if you are taking an accommodation with them, you don't have to worry about your safety or your belongings safety. And they offer all-inclusive prices. All of the accommodation prices listed in the website are inclusive of bills and all of the amenities that comes with the place. They don't have any hidden or additional charges, and if you check out their website you can see that it's very convenient and you can filter between accommodations very easily. They offer student accommodations in the UK in major cities like London, Coventry, Nottingham, Sheffield, etc. The fourth point I want to talk about is getting a guarantor. A guarantor is basically someone who will guarantee that you can can pay the rent, and in case you miss, they'll be covering for you. This can be a parent or a guardian, and most places allow an international guarantor, but there are some places which ask for UK based guarantor, so make sure you check that. And the last thing I want to talk about is make sure you read the contract. At least skim read through the whole contract and make sure you check for details like move in and move out dates. For example, you booked the accommodation and you finally booked the flight tickets and you're coming to the UK thinking of moving into the accommodation as soon as you reach, but once you reach, you go for the key and they tell you that move-in date is actually a couple of days later, so you might have to get a hotel and stay there for a couple of days and then move into the accommodation. You reach the UK and it's all new for you, so you want to avoid that. Check the length of the tenancy. You don't want it to be too short or too long. You will be stuck there or you might have to move out earlier than expected. Also check for details like is it bills included or not, and is it fully furnished or not, and what is the maximum number of days that you can take for paying a rent installment before they start charging interest, and what is the interest rate. So at least skim read through the whole contract and make note of all these important informations. So that's it guys, that's what I wanted to talk about in the video. If you're looking for accommodation, all the best. I hope you find a good accommodation that's best suited for you, and before you go, make sure you click the link in the description and check out Amber. That's it guys, thanks for watching. See you guys in another video. Take care, bye.